I would like to welcome everybody this evening. It is my honor to assume the post of athletic director in a district as well respected as Humble ISD. At the end of tonight, it is my hope that you will leave with valuable information on how to support the wonderful student athletes of the district. Humble ISD boasts an enrollment of over 38,000 students. Of these 38,000, we will have an athletic participation rate of over 70%. That puts the number of student athletes in the district at just under 27,000. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a lot of student athletes to support, and your help is vital. With the district growing at a current rate, it will be nearly impossible to meet all the needs of the athletic programs. While we are not a poor district, having so many schools to support does hinder us. This is where booster clubs can be vital. Tonight, we will discuss various ways to make yours successful. We will show you the value of a well-run booster club and how it can positively serve your children. Through these institutions, pride and honor is instilled in our community. A motivated and engaged community can truly be a blessing for our students. I hope that through this meeting, you will have gained insight on the power of a good booster club. Tonight, we'll take a look at several different topics. The first and perhaps the most detailed topic we will discuss is the booster club's role and what's important. Through this examination of the booster club, we will learn about contest management, financial accountability, leadership transition, branding, marketing, tax-exempt status, and IRS reporting. We'll also take a brief look at the limitations on the booster club's influence. Next thing we'll look at is organization and leadership. In this section, we'll look at different forms of booster clubs and how their leadership is organized. This section will give you a good idea of how to organize the leadership of your club and what will work best for your school. All of our programs besides gymnastics and lacrosse are governed by the UIL. The UIL is one of the oldest and most powerful interscholastic governing bodies in the United States. Much of what we do is directed by this organization. In this section, we'll review the general guidelines for booster clubs. Next, we'll look at solicitation of donors. While we will go over some of this in the first section, we will narrow the topic here. We will show you who, what, where, when, why, and how of soliciting donors. Lastly, we will discuss what Title IX is and what role it has in booster clubs, how it affects you, your athletes, and their coaches. The booster club's role is really quite simple on the surface. The definition can literally be found in its name. A booster club, in essence, will boost different aspects of the entity it supports. In our case, this is the co-curricular interscholastic athletic program. As the athletic director, it is my goal to enrich the participation of each and every student athlete, no matter their gender or skill level. This should also be the booster club's main objective. Another role the booster club should support would be to support each individual sport. There are a number of ways to do this, in which we will get into when we talk about organization. But supporting each individual sport goes beyond just the student athletes. It also includes supporting the coaching staffs as well. Supporting the coaching staff does not mean you'll make personal decisions or personnel decisions. Booster clubs do not have the power to hire, fire coaches, or any other key personnel. Booster clubs also do not have the power to change or set policy. Their role is strictly supportive. A major part of your involvement comes from game supervision or game management. While this is not playing a direct role in the game itself, it is providing a supporting role to enhance game experience. This category also includes the running of concession stands, ticket booths, and other areas that can generate revenue for your teams. This area is vital and can display our community commitment and motivated workforce, increase program support, and motivate outside sponsors, which is very important. Most importantly, this all leads to increased revenue for our student athletes. Lastly, the Booster Club must be active in recruiting new members. To remain relevant and successful, this is very important. Student athletes will come and go, and so will their parents. It is vital that new blood is constantly coming into the fold, and the organization that they are being accepted to is strong, well-organized, and motivated. Booster Club membership will account for a great majority of revenue. The more members there are, the more dues that are paid, the more member donations are received, and the greater workforce and potential to earn money. A large membership can also generate new ideas that can stimulate the organization and better support the student athletes. So what aspects are important for booster clubs to be strong, ethical, and well-run organizations? Well, there are a number of factors. But first and foremost, we can expect all of the unbiased booster clubs to be financially responsible and honest. This takes strong, knowledgeable leaders who are financially accountable. Financial accountability is a major source of concern within booster organizations. There are examples all over the country of booster clubs that fail in this area. When we fail in this area, we are not only cheating our student athletes, but we are also losing the trust of the community. So how can we ensure our institution is financially and fiscally responsible? That's pretty easy. We must nurture strong leadership and create an environment of transparency. As athletic director, I'll demand the books be reviewed to me and my staff periodically throughout the year. Through your monthly meetings, your leadership must present a complete record of revenues and expenditures to the membership and the community. Remember, your meetings are open to the public, and dissatisfied members of the community will try and test you. Have a plan, be open and transparent. The best course of action is to operate with high moral aptitude, and these challenges will easily be dismissed. Financial accountability has everything to do with leadership, and with leadership comes the task of preparing those in waiting to assume your role. With the ever-changing faces of the Booster Club organization, transition of leadership is vital. Have a plan for succession. It's also good for your organization to have multiple year commitments for its key members. Your organization will identify these key members once the leadership structure is agreed upon. Finally, finding or electing the right Booster Club president is perhaps the most important task of your organization. This is one area you cannot miss on. Branding and marketing of our teams is what I'm sure most of you identify Booster Clubs with. You're right, it is a major portion of the organization's job. Selling your programs may not always be easy because some of it may be out of your control. Has the team been successful before? Is the sport one that is visible within the community like basketball or football is? How's your head coach? Is he well liked by the community? You might be thinking this is going to be an uphill battle because your answer to these questions are either no or not that good. You'll have to overcome this. People will also look at the previous history of your booster club. Has it been strong in the past? Has your booster club been visible, valuable, and well run? Once again, they might be saying no to these questions. How do you change it? Essentially, you cannot control some of these things. What your organization can do is change the culture by running a grassroots campaign. Change how the public perceive the coaches, organize meet and greets, make a bigger push to raise funds for the teams that are in need, and maybe the win-loss records will improve. Recruit corporate sponsors that can raise your visibility. And finally, just reorganize the system if it's broken. Lastly, a few quick words on tax-exempt status. All of our booster clubs are registered as tax-exempt corporations. It is up to you to maintain this designation. File your tax return annually. If you do not do so over a period of time, specifically 3 years, you lose your club's booster club's designation, your tax-exempt designation. As we discussed previously, leadership is vital to operating a well-run booster club. But how are you going to organize in order to maximize that leadership? While there are many different ways, we will discuss a few that have worked well for our district in the past. First, let's look at the types of booster club organization. You will see many different booster clubs around the nation operate in a number of different ways. These three seem to be the most common. The first one is a district-wide booster club. I'm only mentioning this type because it does exist. You'll find this type of booster club in a number of smaller districts. Obviously, we do not fit that category at Humble ISD, being a large district. This type of booster club serves the entire district's athletic teams from the middle school on up. With this type of booster club, it is difficult to properly serve every team because donations are spread very thin. This type of booster club is easy to manage, but difficult to get all parties to buy in. The next type of booster club is a school-wide booster club. This is the type of organization that most of you are familiar with because it is the most widely used in the district. Like a district-wide booster club, this type has its faults. It's too easy to manage but hard to garner buy-in from all sports. Many times sports that are the so-called money makers will be forced to give up something for the greater good. This can create problems and raise animosity between sports and coaches. The last type, and the type that I'd like to see implemented more throughout the district, is the single sport booster club. This type of booster club organization can focus all their efforts on one team. This has its obvious advantages. Where this type of organization lacks is dealing with some of the less popular sports. It may also be hard to motivate stakeholders in some of these less popular sports. Once you determine your organization type, you must look at how you want your leadership structured. This aspect is fairly simple. It is obvious that your membership will be changing every year. A good leadership structure must remain in place. If good leadership remains in place, the value of your booster club will be that from same year to year. Will your leadership be elected? Will they be appointed? We organize in a board of directors. Who has a vote? Ultimately, it is up to you to know how you want to organize. Just be sure lines of communication are clear and everyone understands their role. As I mentioned earlier, the UIL is the governing body for athletic teams. The UIL does a great job of communicating with its members and making life much easier. They do the same for booster clubs. The UIL advises on many aspects of booster clubs and also establishes some basic guidelines. According to the UIL, money given to a school cannot be earmarked for any particular expense. Booster clubs may make recommendations, but it's up to the school to use the money how they see fit. What does this mean to you? Well, this means a lot. Your booster club cannot simply go raise funds for a particular thing, say new lockers in the basketball gym. What your organization can do is recommend these funds go to these new lockers, but the money may be used for something else. The UIL is also very particular about coaches receiving gifts from boosters. The UIL mandates that each coach may not receive over $500 in money or gifts each year. This rule prevents many unethical situations from arising. It is also illegal for any student athlete to accept gifts from the booster club or any other organization that's considered a booster club. If a student athlete was to accept a gift from a booster club, his or her eligibility could be severely threatened. According to the UIL, anything an athlete receives from a booster club must be offered to the entire student body on the same basis. When providing our student athletes with meals, booster clubs must be careful on how they follow the rules. If you do not know the rules, meals could be considered gifts. The UIL allows preseason and postseason meals to be provided to student athletes. Obviously, this is per school approval. Examples of additional items deemed allowable under this interpretation, if approved by the school, include, but are not limited to, meals, snacks, or snack foods during or after practices, parties provided by parents or other student athletes strictly for an athletic team. Next, we'll talk about the solicitation of donors. For people that do not have a ton of experience in this area, it can be a scary proposition. As a booster club, your membership must include people that are strong in this area. The first thing you should ask when soliciting a donor is who? Who should we identify as possible donors? Obviously, you should look first at your current membership. Within your organization, there is probably someone you can identify that is willing to be a generous donor. Next, look at the surrounding community. This community is chock full of people willing to donate their time and money for little in return. There are also a number of corporate sponsors that make sense for interscholastic athletics. Research them, find them. This could play a big role in the success of your booster club, but also be aware of who they are and what they sell and what their business is. Soliciting the wrong corporate sponsor could create problems for the organization, school, or district. The how portion should be easy if you are truly passionate about your role as boosters. Just as we discussed in the branding and marketing section, sell them on your team's success, coaches, futures, and more. We know all of these changes from year to year, but it's your organization is strong and it should no matter what potential donors are. They're investing in you because they feel your organization has value to themselves, the students, and the community. You also have to solicit appropriate donors. Once again, do your research on potential sponsors. Obviously, things like tobacco and beer companies would not be an appropriate fit with interscholastic athletics. Similarly, If it's an individual, make sure you go through the appropriate vetting process to ensure you do not associate with the wrong people. The Title IX of the Education Amendments of 1972 protects people from discrimination based on sex in education programs and activities that receive financial federal assistance. Since its implementation, we have seen many changes in interscholastic and collegiate sports. The Office for Civil Rights interprets and enforces Title IX, and according to the OCR, Title IX does apply to booster clubs. What does this mean for us? Well, many things. While we do not have to share privately raised funds between our boys and girls programs, we must ensure that benefits, services, treatment, and opportunities are overall equivalent. This is a tough area to understand. The athletic department is constantly evolving to gain a better understanding of Title IX. We will always be open to assist you in Title IX compliance. Hopefully by now you all understand what a vital role you play. Your role is crucial not just to these students, but to the entire community. You're their voice and you have their back. Be invested, work hard, elect and maintain strong leadership. This is crucial. With this, it does not matter which members come and go. People will be willing to invest their time, money, and effort to your booster club because it has a great reputation. The UIL established guidelines we must follow. These guidelines are in place for a good reason. By no means is the UIL a watchdog entity. They're a phone call or a click away. Use them as a resource. And lastly, Title IX does apply to you. The Humble ISD Athletic Office will be a great resource for you. If you have a question about compliance, do not hesitate to ask. Thank you again, and I look forward to working with all of you.